Remember when ship lasers were pure sci-fi? That era just ended. Right now, warships are quietly adding directed energy weapons that fire at the speed of light, cost about the price of a cup of coffee per shot, and can scorch drones, blind hostile sensors, or cook the engines on small attack boats. This isn't concept art anymore, this is fleet gear. Why the ocean? Power and cooling. A modern warship is basically a floating power plant with an endless heat sink under the keel. On land, getting megawatts to a hilltop is a headache. At sea, turbines are already humming and seawater is right there to pull heat away. That's the secret sauce that turns maybe into mounted on deck. Quick primer, directed energy 101. A laser concentrates light into a tight, invisible beam and dumps heat onto a target. If the beam stays steady long enough, plastic bubbles, composites char, optics crack, circuits fail. Think surgical blowtorch, not Star Wars pew-pew. Today's naval lasers are mostly solid-state or fiber systems in the tens to low hundreds of kilowatts. That's the sweet spot for shredding the cheap threats. Quadcopters, one-way attack drones, and fast inshore boats. And those threats are why this is happening now. A $5,000 drone shouldn't force a $1 million missile shot. Lasers flip the economics. Missiles are amazing but finite. Once your magazine's empty, it's empty. A laser's magazine is your fuel and your generator. As long as the ship has power, you have shots, my take. That changes the psychology of sea fights as much as the tactics. Captains can stay on station longer because they aren't counting down their last interceptors every time a cheap drone buzzes the stack. Reality check though. Lasers aren't magic wands. The atmosphere fights you. Fog, sea spray, smoke, and heavy rain scatter light and make the beam bloom. If you can't hold a steady dot on a vital spot, you don't get a kill. Tracking matters, stabilization matters, and yes, weather matters. Lasers are phenomenals in their lane, so where do they sit in the kill chain? Think layered defense. First, soft kill, jam the seeker, spoof the GPS, confuse the operator. If that fails, bring up the laser. Burn the quadcopters, crisp the optics on surveillance drones, slice the motors on small boats. Anything that leaks through gets the classic treatments. Rapid-fire guns and then missiles for the nastiest threats. Lasers don't replace missiles, they protect them. They're the bouncers at the door, so your expensive hitters are still there when a real menace shows up. Power classes tell the story. Around 50 to 75 kilowatts. Great for Group 1 and Group 2 drones, optics, and boat engines inside practical ranges. Bump to 100, maybe 150 kilowatts? You get faster burns, longer reach, and a shot at tougher airframes. Push beyond 300 kilowatts, and that's the frontier everyone's chasing. And short-range fair-weather defense against bigger, faster targets starts to look real. Not guaranteed, not in storms, but real. Lasers also enable sneaky missions. Counter ISR. You don't shoot down the snooper. You quietly blind its camera so it can't stream your deck layout to whoever sent it. Non-lethal signaling. You put a reversible effect on a boat that won't heed warnings without spraying lead across a shipping lane. And silent defense, no contrails, no smoke, no shell casings bobbing behind you. If you're a commander who hates advertising your playbook, that stealth is gold. What unlocked this shift? 3 big levers. 1. Fiber laser efficiency. More photons per watt, easier to cool, and modules you can stack like Lego. 2. Beam control. Stabilized turrets and adaptive optics that keep the dot welded to a target dancing through heat shimmer and ship roll. 3. Integration. Plugging the laser's eye into the ship's combat system so detection, track, and engagement are a single smooth loop, not 3 radios shouting over each other. Of course, the other side gets a vote. Countermeasures exist. Shiny coatings to reflect energy, sacrificial layers that char and flake, spinning airframes to smear heat around. They help, but add enough power and dwell time and physics usually wins. The smarter counters are environmental. Smoke, clutter, attacking from odd angles, or tactical. Flood the defenders with cheap decoys so they burn time and power while the real threat sneaks in. It's chess, not checkers. Zoom out with me. Why does this matter beyond cool tech? Sea control is about presence and persistence. A ship that can train daily without spending missiles gets sharper. A ship that can swat endless cheap threats without draining the magazine can stay forward longer. Multiply that across a carrier group, an amphibious task force, or a convoy escort, and you change the rhythm of naval operations. You don't just win more fights, you avoid more fights because the other guy knows your porch light stays on.